I'll call this meeting to order. The Santa Cruz Library Facilities Financing Authority. It's a regular meeting. We have a roll call, please, Helga.
Board Member Goldstein, Chair.
Here.
City of Capitola. Would you like add? Should I add the city?
Oh, sure, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Just let everyone know who we
Sorry.
represent. Thanks.
Vice Chair Bernal, City of Santa Cruz.
Here.
Alternate Weiss, City of Scotts Valley.
Here.
Alternate Palacios, County.
Here. Great. Thank you all for attending this morning. First, we have additional materials. Mr. Interim Executive Director, do we have additional materials?
None.
None, okay. Any changes to this morning's agenda?
I offer none.
Okay. Now, we turn to oral communication. It's a member time for anyone from the audience who'd like to speak on anything on the Facilities Financing Authority's agenda that's not on today's agenda for public comment. You can take up to 3 minutes for public comment. Seeing none, I will close the public comment and we will turn to our Executive Director report. Mr. Hill.
I have nothing to add to the report submitted.
Okay. In that, you'll see that we have an update on about recent events and schedule of important dates as we move forward. So that takes us to our consent calendar. There's one item on the consent, which is the minutes from our March 3rd meeting. Are there any questions or a motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Okay, general business, we have none, so that takes us to adjournment for the LFFA meeting. We'll be adjourning to Thursday, May 5th at the Aptos branch, where we'll be meeting in the evening at 6 p.m. So that takes us to our next meeting, which is the General Library Joint Powers Authority Board meeting. And rather than doing another roll call, I think we can note that the same members are still present from our last meeting. So Janice, we turn to presentations.
Sue, I'd like to introduce Sue Graziano, who's System Services Manager, and she's going to talk about our innovative jail program.
Thank you very much for listening to me today. What started about February 2015, Janice met up with Chief Deputy Craig Wilson at an astronomy program. And something about the stars in alignment, they decided, what a great idea. How about library service in the county correctional facilities? As a result, an MOU was signed in April between Teresa Landers and the County Office of Sheriffs. And since then, we have been providing library services to all 4 facilities. Beginning in September, and that would include the main jail, Roundtree, Blaine, and most recently Juvenile Hall. In September, we were going there once a month to the main and to the Roundtree, but since January, we've increased that to twice a month to both of the main facilities and twice a month to Juvenile Hall. We meet with probably 60 to 75 inmates at Maine each visit, and that would be checking out books and taking registrations, and 25 to 35 at Roundtree. Since September, we've had 516 inmates registered for library cards, and which I think is quite a number. And we've also had them begin to come back to the library and change their address as they've been released. So we're happy about that. Some of the reporting will have to be anecdotal. I can get registrations, but I can't tell you how many have changed from their location at the CCF to outside housing. Well, coincidentally, because we were beginning this new service, we started exploring some other avenues, and Miley McGrew Friday happened to mention that there was an NEH grant called People and Stories that would fund 10 libraries to provide short story sessions to a broadly categorized population, people in transition. So she sent a letter of inquiry thinking that maybe in the future calendar year we would apply for this grant. Well, no, there was a cancellation. They said, come to Princeton now, we'll train you, and you'll have the grant for the next 2 years. So Miley, being the librarian that she is, jumped on the red eye, went to Princeton, had the training over a couple of days. I'm exaggerating about the red eye, but it was happening.
Actually, you're not.
But it was happening very quickly. And we have 2 years to provide 4 sessions of 8 weeks apiece at the different facilities for inmates. Well, Miley has managed to complete 2 of those sessions and will complete her 3rd one. So we're way ahead as far as the grant process. Each of the sessions, Blaine Street, which is the minimum security for women, has had 17 participants, and Roundtree has had 42 participants, and she'll finish up at Maine this coming week. As a facilitator, Miley will eventually return to Princeton and take training so she can begin training other staff. The discussions that they're able to have as a neutral starting place are amazing and transformative for the inmates and for the facilitators. Their participants are encouraged to tackle difficult themes, issues, texts that are often reserved for college classrooms. So it's very great. The next part is that meant that Jessie Kushlichuk, who is working with the juvenile hall along with Jennifer Hooker, has decided to explore another grant. And this would be through the American Library Association. And the theme is the art of change, creation, growth, and transformation. And they would be sending us books that would resonate with readers struggling with issues of incarceration, violence, and poverty. We don't know where we are in the grant process, but I do know that Jessie has written a very excellent grant. There is a cost to staff time. We are probably spending 25 to 30 hours a week in terms of staff, selecting materials, filling requests, visiting the jails, checking out materials. But I think it's so worthwhile. We have 2 volunteers who have been helping us select materials. We have 2 retired officers who accompany us in the main jail. Part of the anecdotal stories I can tell you from staff is that one person came in and said, I got this when I was in jail, and this is a start of a new life for me. And it was like, whoa. Some of the others have said, well, this is my 2nd stop after getting chocolate after I was released. Or this is my 2nd stop after going to the Bay. Anyway, I'm collecting those little anecdotes so I can share them with you. But we do feel that we are reaching people that perhaps thought that there was no place for them at the library, and now they know that there is. And we hope to continue to provide this service.
So could you talk about what is unusual about the way we circulate materials from what other public
Old school.
libraries do?
We bring them in crates. We fill out little forms and write down their library card numbers. Oh, by the way, they get library cards. Honest to goodness,
That's
library
the part.
cards. That's the part. They are not turning them into shapes, okay? Library cards. I forgot that part. Thanks, Janice. And then we enter them on the computer when we come back. But they have, honest to goodness, library cards that they then come out. They can use our computers. They can change their address, hopefully, and check out more materials.
We can't find another system that is actually circulating the actual public library collection. Usually what happens is books are donated to the library, and then they take them and give them to the facility. But we're actually circulating the books and materials the library owns, which means they can request the topics they want in the languages they need, which is the innovative thing that we're doing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sue. All right, are there any additional materials to be distributed after the agenda was prepared?
No,
Okay, any changes to this morning's agenda?
no, there are no.
Okay. Again, we have oral communications. Now this is an opportunity to address the board on any item that's not on today's agenda regarding library service in Santa Cruz County. Looks like we have 1 public speaker.
Cynthia Matthews, and I want to give you an update on the report, on the committee, Yes on Measure S. I know some of you get our updates, but I want to let you know we have a hardworking committee. You're doing your work here, and we have a great countywide committee working on this. We have regional groups. We have gotten our material out. I want to circulate our endorsement list. We have over 500 endorsers now, and just an incredible number of organizations, practically every school district, educators, seniors, social service. It's just a great array, and those things don't just happen. People are going out and contacting individuals and groups to get these endorsements. I have to give enormous credit to the Friends. Anyone here from the Friends? Yeah. They have been and are our major source of funding for this. A political campaign, as I think all of you know, is not easy and it's not cheap. And so we've raised about $50,000, the vast majority of it from the Friends, but some also from our labor unions and community members. So we are now in our active fundraising phase, and I'm going to distribute something you can all use in your own personal off time as individuals. I hope you will. And we're about to start our phone banking and precinct work, the field campaign, and that is labor intensive. So again, I will just ask you as individuals who care about our library services, about our public institutions, to use your networks, your personal contacts to spread the word. A 2/3 campaign is not successful without a ton of work and effort. So again, I want to just let you know how hard the community is working on this. And we want to see success in June, and we would love your help. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Are there any questions from the board?
Okay, thank you.
Well, I want to thank you for all your great work.
Thank you so much.
All right. If there's no other oral communications, we will close public comment period of the agenda in terms of the report by the executive director. Janice.
Okay, well, this is a very busy time at the library, and I'll just summarize just a few of the things that we're doing. As you all know, on April 14th and 15th, 3 candidates for the library director position will be in Santa Cruz to meet staff and meet the public and review. We have been working on April 14th. April 14th is the day that the staff has been asked to meet with each of the candidates, introduce them to the staff, introduce them to the community, see at least 3 branches, have lunch, and just get to know us and be able to ask questions. So we've just finished that schedule, so we're set. They're going to be very busy on the 14th from 8:30 to about 5. But they will get to see some branches and get to meet a lot of different staff. We have a lot of staff from very different levels interacting with the candidates. So I think it's going to be an interesting day for them.
And then the next day, there's the interviews with.
And the next day, they get the opportunity to talk to all of you. Yes. On the 17th, I'm going to send you an email about this, but I just want to tell you that Santa Cruz Public Libraries and the Friends of Santa Cruz Public Libraries are going to have an ice cream social, the Aptos branch, at 1 p.m. Sunday, April 17th, and you're all invited to meet our volunteers and have some ice cream. And I'll send you an email that will review that. The other thing that we are busy doing is getting ready for the first meeting of the Library Advisory Commission. One of our commissioners is here today, Martha Dexter. She unfortunately is not going to be able to be at the first meeting, but at the first meeting we're going to do all the housekeeping things we need to do, select a chair and a vice chair. They need to draw lots for their terms. They either have a 36-month term or a 48-month term. And we'll look at the bylaws and we'll start thinking about how they would like to work with you and how often they would like to meet. And then the idea is that they will come back with a report to you in May about their first meeting, and then together we can all figure out what the next steps are. So that is April 19th. The other things that are happening in the library is we're getting ready for summer reading. There's a lot of work that goes with that. It starts June 1st and it goes till August 10th. And lots of planning about all the activities for children, teens, and adults. So we have everybody included. This also means we're getting close to the end of the school year. Lots of class visits, extra number of class visits these days. And the bookmobile, the new bookmobile is progressing nicely, and we're still looking at its delivery the first week of June. So if there aren't any questions about that, that will lead me into staff recognition. This month, two members of the IT staff have been recognized. Ann Young, who is our webmaster but does everything else besides as well, has been recognized. And David Siddell, who is one of the best customer service IT people I have ever met. He's wonderful. If something goes wrong, he shows up, doesn't make you feel bad, he helps you fix it. You learn something, he teaches you what happens, and you don't feel dumb after he's talked to you. So to me, that's a big thing. So it's wonderful to have Ann and David recognized in that way. And that's my report.
All right, thank you. So that turns us then to a report from our friends in the Santa Cruz Public Libraries.
Good morning, everyone. This is my first meeting for the Joint Powers Authority Board. I've been to JPB meetings before. My name is Phil Rodriguez. I've been a volunteer for Friends for 3 years, just over 3 years, and a board member for almost 2 years now. So I don't know if you have my report, but I'm going to make it pretty quick. What we've recently done, we have been raising awareness of Measure S. We did a tabling event at the Santa Cruz Chamber of Commerce Business Fair. We were the ones serving the wine, so we had lots of folks show up and see Measure S. We're currently fundraising for the campaign. So far we have contributed between members, our donors and board members, and our chapters, $40,000, and we continue to raise more money. I'm thinking that that subsequent funding is going to probably go to the GOTV effort, so more on that. We have in front of me here a check for $11,769 from the other endowment folks. It's very restricted funding. I could read that for you if you'd like, but it's kind of dry. Don't know if you knew this, but the Capitola branch had their Sweet 16 party recently. Friends were there to represent ourselves, and in addition, the Friends authorized the new Capitola branch chapter of the Friends of the Library. So they're our newest chapter. Going forward, our newest newsletter will be going out shortly. It will be heavy on Measure S, and so we'll be giving out information about what it is and how people can get involved, with phone banking and things like that. We're going to be tabling at the Earth Day celebration in San Lorenzo Park on the 16th, and as part of our tabling, we're going to be doing some, advocacy for Measure S too. So come on by, stop by and say hi. We're going on the 17th. We're going to have a joint with the library, a volunteer appreciation event, social ice cream social at the Aptos branch. Again, you're welcome to come. And we're having our huge book sale at the Civic on May 27th and 28th. I hope you come down, bring a wagon, and load up on books. I also, in another life, I have had the opportunity to have Janice attend and do a presentation on the agenda of the so-called school board. And so it was a great agenda on Measure S, and then she answered questions about other library stuff. So thank you, Janice. And here is a check that essentially says this money is for the Branson 40 branch. It says local and locality and genre arts and crafts books. that are large print. Good to see you guys. Thanks
Yeah.
for, thanks
Great,
for
thank you.
All right. Any questions?
What was the date again on the Civic Book Day?
It is on May 27th
27th,
for donors, and that's in the evening, and May 28th during the day.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, comments by board members. Any board members have any items they want to update the rest of us on? I was going to note the Capitola birthday party, which Bill mentioned as well. It was a real success. I really want to give kudos to the folks that are organizing the Capitola Friends crew. Barbara Gorson's doing a lot of great work. Gail Ortiz, Tony Campbell as well. Phil.
Who was the book bunny?
Oh, that's a secret. That's a secret that I'm not allowed to disclose. The book bunny is remarkably similar to the Easter bunny, who also makes an appearance down on the beach. So they seem to be at least in the same family
They're
of
definitely
large
related.
pink bunnies.
Book bunny invaded my personal space, I'll let you know.
Oh dear. In addition, I also just wanted to let the board know that I discussed this with Janice a little bit. I know that on our consent calendar we always have the incident log, and I've asked Janice, probably working with the new director when the new director comes on board, to come back to this board and give us a presentation about how that, obviously there's a bit of history behind that and the processes and how it's implemented, because obviously there's a number of items on there that are, every meeting, that are relatively disconcerting. So that's something that I think we can work on getting onto the agenda hopefully this summer at some point. So if there are no other comments by board members, we'll turn to the consent calendar. Does anyone want to pull any of the items off the consent calendar? All right, then we'd be looking for a motion to approve the consent calendar at all, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items.
Move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, that takes us to our general business items. We have 2 items on today's regular agenda, and the first is the conflict of interest code. And Janice, do we have a presentation?
Yes, basically, we've had the conflict of interest code updated to reflect the new composition of the Joint Powers Authority. And what we are asking is that you receive that update and then forward to the Board of Supervisors for approval.
Okay, are there any questions of staff? Is there any public comment on the conflict of interest code update for the Library Authority? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. I just wanted to take a moment, thank Janice for working through this. I know that there were some issues that were raised at the last board meeting about the conflict of interest code, so Janice did some good work with our legal team to figure out exactly what we had to do and the necessary changes. And I'd like to acknowledge you for following through quickly on that and bringing it back. So with that, move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Okay, so that will be forwarded to the Board of Supervisors, and we'll work with county staff to get that onto the Board of Supervisors calendar. That takes us to our second item, which is the contract for legal services.
And I'm going to defer to Rich, who worked on the details of the contract for legal services for the library.
Okay, so the library JPA has been receiving legal services sort of indirectly through the city of Santa Cruz with the firm of ABC Law, actually Verasoni and Candiati. And we thought it's better to have a direct relationship with that firm for various administrative and conflict reasons. So we have obtained a proposal and a contract for the board to approve. The contract is an hourly rate, and the rates are listed and are attached to the contract. And it will begin once it's executed, so there will be about $30,000 in this fiscal year and an estimated $80,000 in the next fiscal year for such services. But again, those are estimates and based on hourly rates.
Are there any questions of staff? I guess my one question would be, do we have good estimates on the hourly billing in prior years? And the $80,000 is estimated to be?
Yeah, I got the $80,000 from City Finance, so I presume, I didn't delve into the analysis there, but I presume it was based on prior year.
Okay. Any other questions? Is there any public comment on the contract for legal services? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the board for discussion. Motion?
Move approval?
Second.
All right. Clerk, call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries unanimously. So we have a legal team. With that, that takes us to adjournment, which, as Janice mentioned, will be adjourning to a special closed session meeting on April 15th, 9 a.m. to do the interviews for our library director. And then our regular meeting will be on May 5th at 6 p.m. at the Aptos Branch Library. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Officially, right.